I don't know anything, man. I'm just trying.
You can just put a small one there.
We'll figure it out. That was a while ago, though.
On a table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That'd be helpful.
Just peek. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I gotta sit closer.
Oh yeah, it just sounds so much better.
Sounds so much better
than like back here. No matter how much you turn up the gain, if you're right here, it just sounds
It's
better.
because these mics, they're directional mics.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's right.
anywhere around the outside of it's just like
This way.
You have to be right on top of it.
Even this side's not bad.
it's not bad.
Right here's better. Wow, huge difference.
Get that bass in your voice.
Wait, so you've been doing content and podcast stuff since when? Long time.
Yeah, I mean, I started probably 2010 is
Yeah.
when, like I said, I just by getting into my photography, that kind of stuff. I mean, I've been doing photos and stuff like that since high school. So, you know, a lot of us probably took a photography school class or whatever, but, you know, the black and whites and the developing and all that stuff. And it just got, you know, really into storytelling. And when I went to Australia in 2010 is where I really started to see, like, you know, people back home don't even know what I'm up to, you know, and I thought that would be a good opportunity to just take some photos of my family. This is back when, like, Instagram was like Insta.
Yeah.
You take a photo and it goes right up on there. And there's like filters and stuff like that. But basically just sharing the moments of me, you know, what I did in Australia. I was there for, you know, a worship school. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff and like talked about my journey and things. And that's actually where I got involved with coffee. That's where I got introduced to real coffee. Let's just say.
In Australia.
Yeah. So my friends were like, you haven't had coffee until you tried this. And I literally haven't had coffee till then. They gave me just a normal cappuccino, Italian cappuccino. And the way it was made was just so much better than anything in America at that time. And basically at that time, it was introduced to third wave coffee. And then when I came back from Australia is when everything hit America. So at that point, before then, it was all cafes, you know, places that you just kind of come, chill. You don't really care about the coffee as much. It's more about food and that kind of stuff and the culture. Well, once I came back, it was like everybody was into specialty coffee. So it was like perfect timing for me because I didn't have to forget what it tasted like. It was like down the street from me. Yeah. But with that, all the content and things like that, I was able to post, talk about it, and then again, tell these stories. And then people were actually interacting with it, saying, you know, asking questions and wanting more and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yeah.
So when you say you did coffee over there, like what was it that was so different? Was it just the way they did the beans? Was it roasting? Was it everything?
It was
just actual technique going into it?
There's a little bit of everything, but I think the biggest thing, cultural differences were, it wasn't about the coffee necessarily. It was more about the interaction. So they didn't, you know, it didn't matter if it took 25 minutes to make a cup of coffee because they know it's going to taste good, but also they want to know who you are, know about you. And in America at the time, like it was all like quick, you know, Starbucks was like in and out the door type of thing. Like we need to get to the next customer type of thing. The culture there was just way different. Very island culture, obviously being an island. Yeah. So it was like, we didn't really, I mean, there's lots of stories I have, but one specific one was something happened in our house and the guy was like, yeah, I'll come fix it, you know, and it took 3 months. So it's like, we need it tomorrow. And he's like, no, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. No worries was the big thing.
Yeah. That's just kind of how they live their lives over there. Do you have any favorite coffee joints in like Orange County? You're in Orange County. Where Orange County are you again?
Irvine.
In Irvine? And
Costa Mesa is like the spot. I mean, you can literally throw a stone and find a good cup of coffee. Yeah. All over the place. But I like Neat Coffee. It's a really small, like community-based coffee shop. In fact, the owners are really about community. They're literally down the street. Like you can walk to their shop if you live in that area. And that's their culture is like, we want, you know, to build a shop that people are going to want to come to, not that they have to come to. And I think that was key for them.
I think our buddy Chris has Nook.
Yeah, Nook is so good.
It was a tiny place, but now it looks like there's lines out the door, for, you know, like all day long, right? Yeah.
So Nook is good too. Chris specifically got me addicted to the honey oat latte.
Yeah, that thing
is so good.
Dude, he has this ice.
That's got to be like all sugar though, right?
It is mostly sugar.
But he bottled these honey oat lattes, and he'd come down and he'd like bring me a few.
Yeah.
I gave some to my wife, and she's tripping. She's like, "This is so good. Every time you see him, you need to go get more."
Honey oat latte.
Honey oat latte, yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, I'm usually like a whole milk guy, but he's like, you got to just try this thing. And it was like, yeah, this is, because I think the sweetness of the honey and the oat milk,
Right.
it makes it make sense. Because oat milk is not good. If you just get a cappuccino with
on
oat,
its own.
yeah, if you get a
Yeah.
cappuccino with oat milk, it's like you're gonna taste the oat.
It's not that bad. It's a little sweet.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, if you're not expecting it, because I
Yeah.
actually the other day I was at a coffee shop, and unbeknownst to me, I just said, hey, they said whole milk, and I said, yeah, whole milk, and they thought I said oat milk,
Yeah.
and I got oat milk, and I was like, this is not what I expected. So
That
I think it's
happens-
expectations.
That happens to us at the bakery too. Like
Yeah.
the whole and oat
Yeah.
kind of sound similar. if
Someone said
it's
cow
not.
milk. So she said
Cow
she said
milk?
say cow milk. That'll help. I'm like, okay.
It sounds like an Australian thing. Cow milk.
I mean, you refer to it like with kids, right? It's like
Yeah.
when they start drinking cow's milk.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't know.
Do you,
Oh, say what?
do you like oat milk?
I don't mind it. I don't think I really mind it. But I wouldn't chug it like by itself.
Yeah,
You know?
there's a sweetness of whole milk that I just love,
Yeah.
and I think with the cappuccino, because it's already, acidic and basically espresso forward, it's like you need something to mix, and oat just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I'm like, I have the worst palate when it comes to coffee.
Really?
Like I've either got bitter or not that bitter. Like that's what coffee tastes like to me, right?
Yeah.
So when I get black coffee anywhere, I'm just like, God, please don't be.
I don't think I've
too
ever
bitter.
seen you drink black coffee though.
I don't. I get free.
Yeah, don't you always drink,
I get
like,
free
sweet-
lattes, man. I drink a latte every morning.
Right.
Now I just actually started cutting out a lot of the sugar in my lattes. If you look at how many pumps of vanilla syrup go into a vanilla latte, I'm like, oh my God,
Diabetes.
that's a lot, right?
Yeah. It depends on the size of it. When I was at Starbucks, that was the thing that was really, for me, actually eye-opening, was that it's the same exact drink. It's just the amount of pumps and or what kind of syrup goes in there.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was like a venti was like 5 pumps.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that is
Dude,
a lot.
five pumps is like this.
That's ridiculous.
It is so much. It is so much syrup.
The recommended amount of sugar for an average adult male in the U.S., I believe, is it's just under 30 grams. I
Oh
think.
my gosh.
Yeah. So
Oh, we
5
looked this up
pumps
last time.
I know.
Yeah.
I think I just had that with the, what was that? Cream cheese.
Cream cheese donut. Nah, that wasn't even that sweet, dude. Cream cheese has only a little bit of sugar in it.
Well, it had sugar on the outside too.
Just a dusting, man. You have a Coke. How many did we say Coke has? Like 30.
So a can of
30 grams?
Coke, like a 12 ounce, I believe, is like 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
39.
38, 39,
It
yeah.
was a lot.
I drink one of those every other day.
A Coke?
Yeah. I start with coffee in the morning and then usually a soda.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, honestly, it'd be better to have a black tea.
Sure.
Black iced tea is like so good.
Yeah.
Next to water, that's like I could drink that all day.
I'll go an entire day without drinking water sometimes. I'm like, I'll have a coffee in the morning and I forget to have a water, with or before.
Yeah.
And then at lunch, I'm like out at a fast food restaurant or any other restaurant, I get a Diet Coke and I'm drinking that. And then I'm so busy running around doing everything. And then I go and I get home and I'm like, I'll just have another Diet Coke out of the fridge. And it's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't had one drop of actual water this entire day.
Yeah.
Gotta get one of these.
For sure.
Get your branding on it.
I don't like to do dishes.
Vessel?
I don't.
Put the brand on there.
Nope, don't want to wash dishes. I have 1 million of those. I mean,
Hyper golf?
hype golf.
Hype golf?
So
Sorry, hype golf.
Alan's not a golfer, by the way.
Oh,
He does
I grew
jiu-jitsu.
up golfing.
Plays a little
Yeah, I'm
basketball.
not-
You know,
we can
Yeah.
get you on the course.
Yeah.
He was a
I
swimmer?
eventually probably will.
competitive swimmer.
Yeah.
Swimmer.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
shave everywhere?
Used to. You got to do it. You'd be surprised the difference that it actually makes. Like you feel
Like how much?
you feel slithery, but also you only do it for like the big competitions.
Okay.
And I think by then it's hard to like isolate if it's actually the shaving or just the fact that you trained
Feel-
up to
yeah.
the big competition and
Get a
you're
little
just
extra
ready to go.
adrenaline.
Yeah, but you definitely feel
Bro,
more
you have
slithery.
no hair anyway, man. You're-
No, so it's not that. It's not just the hair though. It's shaving off the dead skin cells that really makes
that's
a difference.
disgusting.
Yeah, I know. Swimmers, man.
You're shaving off the dead skins.
Yeah, basically. You should try it. Like, just get in a pool and feel your skin. Just do your arm. Like it's pretty
after
crazy.
you shave your arm. You just
It. So go in the pool.
Yeah.
Like fully haired. Like, see what it feels like. Then after, shave it, get back in the pool, and see what it's like. You're literally slippery.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
I'm pretty hairy.
He's just gonna have one arm that has nothing on it, dude.
Yeah, you
It's
guys
not
could
good for
both
golf, by the way.
Oh, for having
To
not
shave
having
your arms? No.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't
it's
sound
like
like it would
basically
be.
skin cancer, just waiting to happen.
Oh, that's all your coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, your white boy. That's what you get, man. I did.
Oh, the dead skin.
Not too worried
That's what yours is.
about that. I'm covered in the dead skin cells. Look
That's
how
what I'm
dark-
saying. If
look
you
how dark
shaved
I
it
am.
off, that's not good. Yeah. You need the dead skin.
It's true.
So anyway, how's your golf game?
Oh man. So I'm about once a month now. I'm playing. I don't carry a handicap, but if I did, it'd probably be about a 12 or 14.
That's not bad, man. Once a
It's
month,
not bad.
Getting it in.
I mean, I'd love to play like once a week, but yeah, I mean, it's expensive, time consuming. I'm more of a proprietor of like 9 holes. Like if I could play 9 every day or every week, I'm happy with that. I just want the feeling of getting out there and like going through the motions.
I mean, you are a golf influencer to a certain degree, so I mean, maybe
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself an influencer.
a golf content creator.
There you go.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, because that's what I do is I create content for other brands because I don't get paid yet enough to say I'm an influencer.
Yeah, you just
Maybe
need
someday.
to make the right connections, you know,
Exactly.
to go and get some of the free gear and stuff. Even if you're not getting paid, it does help to get the clubs and the bags and the stuff like that. I mean,
Absolutely.
I know
yeah.
Vessel sends you stuff, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ronnie.
That's our boy Ronnie, Uncle Ron.
Uncle Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get over there because I want to do, I don't want to do, I mean, could do a podcast, that'd be awesome, but like just a conversation with him. So I've seen him do some brand stories and like that kind of stuff, but I just want to like get to know him and get to know the brand a bit. Maybe you could jump in, you know, talk a little bit.
Yeah, he's nothing special. I'm kidding.
I mean, there's something there.
Ronnie's the best.
No, he is good.
Ronnie's the best. He's uber generous, almost to a fault. You know, like he's just his favorite thing is like, yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, I got you.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons he's as successful as he is just very giving.
That's
you know,
good.
and people, I think people gravitate to that. And yeah, just a super genuine, super generous, awesome guy.
Yeah, I remember. So last year at that invitational, like it was last minute. I think I connected through Chris actually. I reached out to Ronnie and said, "Hey, you know, love to help out in any way I can." He's like, "Oh, you want to come to the invitational?" I was like, "Heck yeah!" And then he talked to you, and he's like, "Well, I know Patrick."
Yeah.
It was
How
just, like,
fun was that?
easy.
Though? It was fun. Huh?
So much fun, dude.
We're trying to do it this year again, but then just with all the tariffs and all the uncertainty, and you know, we postponed it.
Yeah.
And then so now it's supposed to be in October. I don't even know if we're gonna be able to do it in October because I feel bad asking people for sponsorship money and even goods right now because the cost that things are you know going up to.
Yeah.
And tariffs from China extra 190% right now. That means you bring in $1 thing that used to cost you $1, and now it's $3. And so you can't wholesale anymore. You have to go direct to consumer. Like imagine you bought something for $1 usually, right? You bring it in from China for $1. You sell it for $2 at wholesale, hopefully, if you're lucky, to somebody, and they go and sell it for $4. It's like very basic metrics, right?
Yeah.
But now you're bringing in for $3. So theoretically, if you're just running through percentages, you'd be selling it for $6 and they'd be selling it for $12. Right?
That's insane.
And so it's just an impossible way to do business because now, you know, you have tripled your cost. And so a lot of people are moving to Vietnam, you know, India, Cambodia, places like that, just to try and avoid some of the uncertainties that come with China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to hope that it calms down or we're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ronnie's based out, or Vessel's based out of China, right?
Yeah, I think they manufacture in a couple places.
Okay.
We won't disclose too much stuff, you know.
No.
But like, because there's so many people watching this podcast. But yeah, he, you know, he feels it. Everybody feels it. I have a lot of friends in consumer goods, and some of them are trying to catch everything early, and they're really reacting to everything, and maybe overreacting. And then some of them are saying, hey, look, we'll just take a hit for a while so the consumer on the back end doesn't feel it as much. Just keep growing the business and keeping the goodwill going. Because if you're selling like a widget for, once again, like you're selling a widget for $5 and somebody is willing to pay $5 for it, well, you raise that price to $10 to cover your losses so you can still make money.
Yeah.
And that person decides that they can't buy that $10 widget now. You lose that business, and they're going to go to somebody who's selling the $5 widget because they can afford it, right?
Yeah.
And once we come out of this, because at some point we're going to come out of it, whether it's short term, long term, whatever, at some point it'll all settle down into something we can adapt to. Like, you want to keep that customer base because they're the ones who will be loyal to you and continue to buy your product after everything's settled down. So it's a big debate on what you should do regarding the tariffs, and people are taking all sorts of stances on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking to someone. I mean, I've talked a little bit. I'm not a very political person, but just looking from the outside in and just asking questions. My thought was like, well, wasn't there like, because in the whole campaign of Trump, he talked about this happening, and like it was like when it happened, people were just confused by it. That was my take on it was like, you guys knew it was coming. Like there were people that definitely tried and moved things around, but like the majority of people, mostly the small businesses, just like kind of written bare, like we'll just figure it out when it happens, and it was almost too late at that time.
Yeah, I mean, even the people who are trying to pivot, it's just hard. Like you'd have to get your stuff. You were basically people who were preparing were getting as much stuff manufactured in China as possible and getting it on a boat before I think it was like April 9th or something when all the stuff was going to go into effect at the super high prices. And if you didn't have it on a boat already in transport, it was subject to that. Yeah. There's some people who had things in like Mexico or Canada that they bring into the United States through their third-party logistics companies that, because the state of origin was China, they're getting hit with that tax once they import it back into America for the China tax, even though it's already in Mexico or Canada. And so that was a little bit crazy. But I think a lot of this comes down to communication from the government. Yeah. Like if they're more clear and direct on what they're doing and why they're doing it and what to expect, and maybe they don't know what to expect, I don't know. True. But like if they're really clear and transparent about all that stuff, I think the people are going to be more apt to accept what's going on and just, be with the program. But it's hard to disclose everything. I understand, like whatever they're doing, it's tough stuff, right?
But also, like, isn't it a commentary to like, I had this talk with someone a couple of years ago where it's like, not to put anybody on blast or anything, but new is always better, right? Well, what if we like took this moment to realize like, well, actually we've got stockpile of stuff that we haven't even sold yet. Find out a way to like reintroduce that at this time while everything kind of has to, figure itself out, instead of trying to put new things out all the time. And I know that there's like certain things are manufactured out a year or two before, but the things that, don't necessarily need to be right now, maybe there's a way to like look at the Adidas Originals. That's an awesome throwback from, the 70s, 80s, the stuff I grew up with. It's like, I'm sure stuff's sitting on shelves that could be, brought up and talked about right now, rather than like, here's this new thing we're trying to push through and it's going to cost 4 times as much.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is a tough deal. I think one of the things I heard is that the bigger deal with what's going on in China, and it's not about the consumer goods. Like I don't think anybody cares about like socks, right? You manufacture the socks and you send them over. Like that, those are things that people need, and that's great and all. Yeah. But I think the bigger thing is they're trying to combat the reliance of the U.S. on and the world basically on China to manufacture all these very important like technological things. Like between semiconductors and other very important products that we need as a world to survive on. Like the reliance on China is so high that they're trying to bring that manufacturing out of China to lessen the reliance on those and I don't know all the technical stuff. It's just what I hear.
Yeah,
It makes me sound
that makes sense.
Anyway, yeah. So that's the whole tariff thing, man. I was talking to my buddies at another consumer brand thing yesterday, and as soon as you bring it up, everybody's face just goes. Bleh.
Yeah,
they're so depressed by it. Yeah. Even now, this podcast turned depressing. Talk about tariffs. It's the worst.
It's a hot topic, though, dude. It's important.
No. We should talk about food.
Yeah.
I like food.
I like food, too.
Yeah.
Weren't we talking about food earlier? Oh, we're talking about coffee.
Oh, coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's food.
Coffee is food-ish.
Is how much are tariffs imposed on coffee? What about that?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that a thing?
We're not importing them from
Not
China.
from China.
Yeah, not from China for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
But there are tariffs at all stages.
because it's the beans, right?
Yeah.
Like exported beans.
Yeah, where are your favorite beans from?
That's probably a question that I can't answer, but I usually Ethiopian coffee's good, Kenyan coffe's good. Probably if Guatemala's really good too.
Do you think it's just
those areas?
kind of like a soil type thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's just specific regions that coffee's grown. It's more so like how it's handled and how it's roasted versus where it comes from. I mean, there are like beans from Mexico and Colombia that they're great for like an espresso with a blend, but like on its own, I haven't found my best. Those aren't my favorite flavors.
Are you tasting coffee like people taste wine, where you're sitting here like, ooh, I've got notes of gravel, monkey poop?
Yeah, right. No, when I started at Starbucks, that was like one of the things that that was great. Was like I think it was 98 or 99. So like when it was actually good. But they would make us go through this thing called the coffee passport. And that's what we had to do. We had to taste every coffee. We had to talk about all the notes and flavors, where it came from and all that stuff, which in that moment, like I can't remember any of those things now, but that was, a good way to get introduced to the whole world of coffee. But me personally, I always say it's like, I'm not a connoisseur. I'm just a guy who knows what I like and what I don't like. Kind of like what you said earlier, where you're like, I don't know why, but it's acidic or not acidic. Similar to that, or it's like, I know certain flavors and certain tastes that I've had before that I know that I won't like or I didn't really like, but I can't tell you what the flavor notes or anything like that are. I mean, you could taste it if it says. Also, your brain, the way it works is like, if you see roses, you're like, yeah, I can taste roses. Like,
yeah, right.
No, not really. It just tastes like dirt.
Yeah,
or fruit.
I used to go over to Mostra a lot. My buddies are buddies with the owners there, and it's like,
that's a Korean brand.
Mostra?
Yeah.
No, they're Filipinos.
Oh, just kidding.
But they have all these different coffee beans that they roast with different stuff and whatever, and I'm like, oh, I like the I'll taste the stuff that has like chocolate or hazelnut or some sort of fruit, and you can actually kind of taste it a little bit. But I do think if nothing was on the label, I'd kind of be like, yeah, it tastes like coffee, bro. I mean, it's pretty good, but it tastes like coffee.
That's how it is for me. Like, I don't drink alcohol. But my buddies I've had many friends and family that are all bartenders, and they have always tried to like get me to try something. And every single time I can always taste the alcohol. Like, oh, this tastes like chocolate. I'm like, no, that's beer. Like, it's just, you could always taste it. I don't know. It's just something about it.
It's a rare occurrence that all three at the table don't drink.
Yeah.
Well, we can't drink. But I don't know if
why don't you drink? You just don't like
my family was alcoholics, and I just kind of watched every one of my friends like go through the stuff, and I'm like, why would I ever want to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, that's actually the most valid reason to not drink. I do hear that. I do hear that a lot.
I have an addictive personality too, so it's like I know that if I did, like, I love coffee, I'm addicted to coffee.
Yeah.
Just like that, I'd probably be really addicted to alcohols, and maybe more so now because it's IPAs and all that stuff, which are, microbrewers and all that. But back in the, 80s and 90s, well, I guess that'd be 98 or no, 2000 something. Like, there wasn't a lot of those things around. So it was just Bud Light.
Yeah.
And all those things. And I was just like, you're drinking water to get drunk. I'm like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, I have a pretty addictive personality too. And I always say, like, if I could drink, I'd probably drink a lot, a whole lot. That's just how it is. And I tried during college and after college. a decent amount, and it just never ends well. I was like, you know what, this is stupid.
Yeah. I remember in high school, people were getting drunk on the weekends, and they would come talk to me, which is also part of my personality. Just people love to sit and talk to me, like people that I have nothing in common with, but they just love talking with me.
Yeah.
And they would always tell me like all their stories, and I woke up with this person, and like I'm like, why would I want that in my life? Like honestly, I was just like, none of that sounds amazing at all to me. Yeah. Like I'm happy to be where I'm at.
Maybe you have one of those faces where people are just like, that I can trust that guy. I'm gonna tell him a bunch of stuff that I would never tell anybody else. I
mean, I was a pastor, so
that's right.
There's part of that.
That's right. When, how did that all come about?
So back in probably high school was when I decided I was a part of, or I gave my life to the Lord then, and my brother was going through some stuff, and I kept thinking to myself like, man, I don't want him to go through life making bad decisions. I want to try and like fix him now, which is a dumb attitude to think about when I'm 18 years old or whatever. But so I thought, okay, I'm going to be a youth pastor because I'm going to reach kids before they start to make bad decisions. What I didn't realize was that you can't change people, and God showed me that. There was a moment where I was just frustrated with my high school kids, and I was like, God, what's going on with these kids? Actually, it's junior high kids. He's like, it's not your job to change them. It's your job to bring them to me so that I can make the change. And that just triggered in me like something that made a lot of sense, where it took the pressure off of me, where I don't have to do anything. I just have to be myself and share, the testimony of my life. And so that's kind of the path that I took, was like, I'm just going to be doing what I do and, share what I do. And if people like that, they'll gravitate towards me. And so ended up doing a lot of stuff in the church, planted a few churches, helped out with that kind of stuff, did worship. That's why I went to Australia, to do more training in worship. And then was actually a youth pastor at a church in Costa Mesa for a little while. Or not youth pastor, sorry, young adults pastor. And right before pandemic. So it was an interesting story because like there were not many young adults in the church, and the few that were there weren't really connected. And so basically my job was like, I created a way for them to get connected. And the cool thing about it was like, once they've got connected, they actually wanted to get connected to the larger church. And then they ended up going men's groups, women's groups, things like that. So naturally it just kind of ended. And then my role kind of shifted to where we got into the pandemic, where I was producing, editing, doing all the sermon stuff, and then got us onto a live production, that type of thing. So I've always had like the creative side of things, even when I was a pastor, and doing that kind of stuff alongside of it. So yeah,
that's cool, man. I think it's a great service with young adults, especially. They're coming out of this phase where they've been with their friends nonstop for years, right? You go through at least 4 years of college with all your friends all the time, and then you step out and you're like, oh, I'm on my own. I got to get a job or move back home, or I've got to do something. It's a little bit, it can be lonely at that time. And, there's not a lot of assurances when you get out of college. So I think, I'm sure you saw a lot of that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I was living in downtown LA at one point, and speaking of loneliness and things like that, I was telling my wife, I was like, I just want to be a professional friend. Like all these celebrities that are going through stuff. And I think at the time it was Philip Seymour Hoffman that took his own life. And I was just thinking like, man, if that guy had a friend, like someone that he could just tell everything to and like talk about everything that's going on, like no shame, no nothing. It was just like somebody to bounce ideas off of or whatever. Maybe things would be different, And I think that's the thing, is like, even in these golf tournaments that I go to, like I run into celebrities, and you could just tell that like, if they're comfortable, they'll be totally normal. But if they're not, like, they're going to have the defenses up, and you're going to see a totally different person. So it's like, I've always thought like, man, if I could just be like that counselor or professional friend where I was like, literally just call me up and like, let's just talk about life. Like, that's what I want to be. And that's, I think, why I started doing like a lot of brand stuff. And now, even what I'm doing now, which is, consulting and stuff for brands, it's like, that's what they need. They need a sounding board. They need somebody to like encourage them or help them down the road to where they need to go next. And with the brand stuff, it was like, people would just reach out to me, hey, could I send you something? I'm like, absolutely. So it's like helping to get those brands noticed, but also again, being a support when I can't, purchase something because I have a camera and skills in that way, I'm able to do the thing I can do. So it's never about like, give me free stuff. It's like, how can I support and help, and ultimately I do get free stuff, which is
I think,
always nice.
But I think it's because you go in with the heart of adding value to other people.
Exactly.
It's not a selfish endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
You go, hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you?
Yep.
And then if they want to reciprocate, that's great.
Absolutely.
But you never put that expectation on them in the beginning, right?
Right.
So that's an interesting thing, because like I tell younger people,
mm-hmm.
if they ask me for life advice,
yeah.
I just go, there's only two things that you really need to do. One is you need to do what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you commit to something, you do it all the way. I mean, even if it's to your detriment, right? A lot of people, it's like, as soon as it's bad for me, I'm out.
Oh yeah.
Right. They change their mind. They're just done.
Mm-hmm.
But if you build trust that way, you can go a long way through that. And then number two, I call it just be cool. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But part of being cool is, looking out for other people and being additive in other people's lives.
Yeah.
And without the expectation of anything in return, it's just, hey, how can I help you, man? And with that comes a little bit of expectation down the road that if someday you need help, there will be somebody who will want to help you because
yep.
you went to them without that expectation. And I found that to be really true in my life, where I try my best to be additive to other people and as giving as I can with what I have.
Yep.
I don't have certain things, like I can't produce a film for you, and there's a lot of things I can't do, but I do have other resources that are that can be of help to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I try my best to be as generous as possible with those things.
Yeah.
Right. And that way, when I do need something, especially in the areas that I don't have expertise in,
yep.
I usually can find someone who will help me get there. And I'm not ashamed to ask.
No, yeah. And I think that's the thing, because I grew up Catholic and Italian. And if you know anything about Catholic Italians, like, you don't know anything about Catholic Italians. We didn't ask for help at all. Like, we always, put on this face that everything was fine and, we don't need anything, which I had to break in my life, because, again, you need to ask help from anybody you can, because as long as you're, like you said, willing to offer your own services or what you can do, or even being willing to listen to someone. I mean, think about that, the value of just somebody who's able to listen to you. I don't want to, people come to me and they're like, hey, I have a question, right? But they're not even listening to, I don't even want to talk about my son and my kids, but seriously, that kind of attitude where it's like, hey, I have a question, and then they just don't listen to your advice or listen to you at all. And it's like, why did you even come to me? But having that attitude of somebody that's willing and ready to understand and listen to what you're saying is valuable. So it's like knowing that you have all of these people that, and I think I'm good at that, building that network of people where I can connect people, where brands are now coming to me and saying hey, who can we work with? And I know who to work with and who not to work with. Yeah. Just because of the conversations and the interactions that I've seen. I don't know if there's a bias there, but the idea is that I know that you're going to get really good value from this person, and this person maybe not so much, and specifically in areas that you're looking for. So I think that has been a skill set that I've kind of learned over the time, is like you said, those two things, really being willing and ready to help somebody is huge. Think about the old joke where it's you'll find your friends when you ask them to help you move.
It's the guy with the truck.
Right. Usually that guy's not willing.
You gotta be a little selfless to buy a truck, man. You're gonna get asked. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. Yeah, that I think for me, I've always I've talked to people, and when it comes to promotions and moving forward in life, the skill set is invaluable. If you think about who's going to get the promotion at work, very simply, in an organization, it's the guy that you can trust, or girl, and the person who you want to spend time with, because you're going to be spending time with them. And you don't want to spend time with takers.
Right.
Nobody wants to spend time with takers, right? And so, but it's so hard. Yeah. This generation of young people right now, they're almost programmed to be takers. And it's the weirdest thing. Their mentality is very selfish. I'm generalizing a whole generation of people, but it's having a few businesses where I'm employing kids of this age, it's just kind of like that. They're looking out for number one all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not willing to sacrifice to do what they say they're going to do, and that's tough.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's a huge thing in my life is like follow through. Like if you mean no, then say no. If you mean when you say yes and it really means no, that like that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a biblical principle too. You know, so your yes be yes and your no be no. It's like I'd rather have somebody like completely honest with me and totally reject me than someone that's like, oh yeah, maybe someday, you know, whatever, and like you're just dragging that person along, because you know it's been so many times where it's like this generation, like we just need to be better at being honest and being authentic. Like my socks.
nice. Yeah, they just straight up say authentic on it.
Oh, really?
But that's the thing, is like really being real and being honest and authentic. I think that's what I try to push on my Instagram and my, you know, my personality, I guess you could say. It's not fake. Like this is who I am. Like if I don't like something, I either won't talk about it. You know, my mom always said, like, you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So that's true. But also I'll tell you, you know, how I feel about the certain thing. And, you know, and most of the times it's really high praise, because most of the people that I work with are pretty high praisable people.
Good caliber people, right? Yeah, that's right. How old are your kids again?
So I have, my son will be 18 in September, end of September. My daughter will be 16 in November. My other daughter turned 10 just last week. And then my son will be 3 in June.
Oh man, you were in the gamut.
4 kids. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you have teenagers now, but
I have a 12-year-old.
Teenagers,
that's my oldest.
Man. Yeah. I'm going through it right now with both of my oldest, and everything they're dealing with.
I don't know what that's like, but you know what?
You can call me when it comes to that time.
I'm a little scared.
We're still figuring it out.
I'm still trying to figure out like this principle, you know, going back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like I need to follow through when it comes to my kids on everything.
Yep.
So I used to just tell them when they were little, I'm like, if you don't do this, I'm taking away your iPad forever.
Oh yeah.
Like it's never coming back. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm never taking this away forever, because that's my break. Like I need that. I need you to have that iPad sometimes, right?
Yep.
But now it's like I've turned that into, you're losing it tomorrow and you can lose it again another day. You might lose it for a week.
Yeah.
It'll never be forever, but you might lose it for a certain time period. But there's none of this like 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. None of that, right? You just go, hey, look, it is or it isn't, and I'm gonna take it away if you don't do what you say you're gonna do, right? And they just have to learn that there's an associated consequence with all their actions, right? They do something good, they're probably gonna get something good out of it. They do something bad, something bad's probably gonna happen out of it, right? And I think a lot of the coddled generation doesn't get the consequences.
Right.
The parents just go, oh, well, it's okay. It's okay. And it's because maybe the parents grew up in a tough time, you know, and they don't want their kids to go through any of that.
Yeah. I grew up in a tough time, and I'm happy to give my kids the same treatment. Because look, that's what how I came out of that is I want them to have the same problem. I mean, the same issues, so they can deal with it now rather than when they're 30.
Yeah.
Because that's what's happening right now is our generation, especially I'm probably 10 years older than a lot of the people that I interact with, and I can tell, like,
all those golf influencers are young, man.
Not only young, but they're a lot of them, haven't been told no, haven't been, said that they can't do certain things, and maybe sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. So it's a matter of like, again, I'm dealing with my oldest kids and like lies, deceit, and things that I'm like, wow, like I used to do this stuff, but I don't want them to go through the same thing that I went through. And we live in a different generation too, where I can't see them doing the things that the things that I did in the same ways that they do them now, because it's just not safe anymore. And
I thought you were going to say you can't beat them up. It's a different generation.
There's that too.
You can't beat up your kids anymore.
But like, my mom used to drop me off. I was like 14 at the local par 3.
Yeah.
I can't see myself dropping my daughter off at a par 3 right now.
Herself.
Like by herself. Yeah. That just doesn't make sense.
Maybe with a few friends or whatever, but not by herself.
Potentially, yeah. But even then, like the conversations and the things that happen around her friend groups, it's like, I can't even trust that, you know? So
That's 100% true. Yeah.
and I'm giving him, it's funny because we're giving her opportunities and she just like throws it back in my face. And I'm like, okay, so something's got to change here. And I don't know what it is yet, but we're working through it.
I think it's a matter of, I really don't like the idea of, trying to protect my children too much in their more formative years, like as a teenager, as opposed to just like I said before, you have to know that there are consequences to your actions, and you sometimes have to do those things and just get punched in the face to realize that maybe you shouldn't do those things anymore. And we can be there to support them and to, help them get through those things. But if they don't have the opportunity to fail a little bit or to do something stupid a little bit, then they're never going to know that they shouldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going on with some of these kids is their parents have always covered up for them. Like, you see the super rich billionaire kids who like nothing bad ever happens to them because their parents just go, oh, we're going to cover that up. We're going to fix that. But it's a matter of, fall down. If you need my help getting up, I will help you up. Right. But I'm not going to sit there and just keep you strapped to me so that you can't fall.
Right. Yeah. I always tell my kids like make new mistakes.
Yeah. Yes.
Like stop making the same mistakes. Like we're here again after a week and it's like, we just talked about this. We just went through this, make new mistakes and figure out that. But yeah, I mean, it's having teenagers and my daughter 10, she feels like a teenager already.
That gets there real quick. His kids are a little younger.
Yeah. I got a 7 and 5-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I can't imagine what it'd be like for him because we're already getting like attitude and reasoning. So just amplify that a bit. I imagine that's what it's like.
Is it poor reasoning? Or is it pretty good?
Sometimes it's like, hey, you got a point. So I don't know how you deal with that specifically, But yeah.
Well, I think it's a lot of follow through on the parents' part.
Yeah,
if you follow through and you do what you say you're going to do, then they'll live in a culture, they'll grow up in a culture where you do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And you learn the consequences of your actions. And it's like, it seems really simple. It's infinitely not simple.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that is like, aside from any sort of religious or moral, stuff, this is the foundational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Even with like what happened with Shedeur, I don't know if you were following the draft, but like everybody talked about it, everybody saw it happening, and then it happened. So like the fact that maybe he wasn't told, clearly like what the process was and like how he went through it was kind of like without preparing or whatever it was he did. It was also the result of, his dad just kind of like pumping him up. He's the best quarterback. He's going to go number 1, blah, 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 all this stuff like that. No one prepared him for what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the thing with our kids is like the same thing where I want to let them know now that, maybe your life might be a little bit of a struggle and that's okay. But you're going to have to work through some things and not going to be handed everything. And I think those kind of situations are much more powerful than doing everything for. Like when we had our son, my wife, God bless her, she loves, all of our kids, but like she coddled him. And I don't know if it was like just because of maybe her way she was raised or whatever, but like you could see that she did most everything for him. And now him almost 18 years old, he's like still that way where he's like waiting for her to say something or me to say something, trying to get him a job. And like, I remember when I was 13, 14, I had my first job and like, I literally just walked around and like asked for, a job. And I'm just telling him all the time, like, just keep going, keep looking for a job. But he just gets into these modes where he's just like lazy and won't do anything. And I'm like, go outside, do something,
I feel you. My 12-year-old's definitely like that. He is my first child, same thing. And he's always like just so unmotivated to do anything, he just even as like he gives up on things so easily. I didn't expect this. So he has a Roblox account.
Oh yeah.
And he got unexpectedly logged out while he was in London with his mom on a trip, right? And he texts me and he goes, dude, I need my Roblox account back. Like, I need you to help me out. And I go, okay, sure, I'll try to help you out. I exhausted every email address, password combo, forgot my password, everything I could do. I have no idea how to get this account back. And he has spent thousands of dollars. I'm talking about like every dollar he's ever gotten in his life, he's probably put into Roblox. So this account is pumped up. And you'd expect him to be like every day, hey, I need this back. I need this back. I need this back. I need this back. And guess what? Like he asked a couple times and then he just kind of like, man. And I mentioned it. He goes, yeah, but you can't get it back. And I go, yeah, I'm having a tough time getting it back. I'm like, you spent, I mean, that'd be the equivalent of me spending millions of dollars on Roblox, right? Because this is everything he's got.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're good, I guess. I'll play something else, you know?
That's a 12-year-old attitude.
Yeah, but it's like, but you know, when he's playing, it's like it was life or death. And then now that it's gone, it's like, oh yeah, guess what? It's replaceable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the similar thing with my son, and he's a big Lego guy. So like, I noticed that his grades were slipping, or something was happening with his attitude or something. So we basically grounded him from his Legos, and like we thought it was gonna be like, oh, I got to do something to get better and get my Legos back. Just like, no, just it's not a thing anymore. You know, it's out of sight, out of mind. And we're like, are you kidding me?
I mean, Legos are expensive. Dude.
Oh yeah, he's got so many too.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
It does.
Anyway,
man.
I think it's about that time.
Sweet.
12:15. We went for a while, actually. I thought it was going to be half an hour, but thanks for coming in.
Talk a lot.
Appreciate you. We didn't even get to talk about golf
Patrick.
or anything, you know?
No, right.
Did a little bit.
I mean, a little bit.
Okay.
No
We'll be
deep dive.
But we know each other from golf is the thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's that's really the connector here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about how you like to berate yourself on Instagram about your bad swing, but I'm like, it's not that bad.
Look, that is. It's all about it's all about expectations. You know what I mean? Like I expect to be better than that, and that's one of the things with golf is like your expectations are so unrealistic when you play golf. Everybody thinks they're better than they are because they've hit like that one really good shot, and like I should be able to do that every time, and they don't realize how hard it is to actually just play golf.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And that's why nobody's ever happy, but it's also why people keep playing because you never get good enough that you can just.
Yeah. Well, I tell people all the time, it's like,
pursuit.
if you're spending $150 playing golf, I'd never do that. But if you are, if you're just complaining the whole time, like, what are you even doing out here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you have to enjoy it. And before pandemic was like, I loved just going out by myself early in the morning and just, you know, taking my time. It was a perfect meditation, like getaway. I have 3 kids at the time. Now I have 4. It's like, I wish that I could do that again. But right now, it's every course is so packed up. You know, Twin Oaks is probably packed.
Oh yeah, we gotta keep it busy. I got private school tuitions to pay, bro. But yeah, the golf is the best. It's also the worst. You know, it is. I equate it to gambling. It's intermittent positive reinforcement. So you know, like when you gamble, if you're a slot machine player, right, and you're just starting, right? Most people start with slots because it's so easy and you got all the lights and everything. If you never win, you stop playing, right? You just go, this is stupid. I just threw away $20 or $100 or whatever that is. It just threw it away into a machine. Wasn't even fun. You hit one jackpot and you're done because you go, I can do that again. I can do that again. And that's golf. You hit a bunch of bad shots, and for a long time you can't even hit one good shot. And then one day you go, and this like dopamine hit comes in. You're just like, oh my God, I just made that ball go that far and that straight and that high, and I want to do it again. And then you hit 400 more shots and you're like, God damn it, I'm going to quit. And then you hit another one. You're like, oh no, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
You got to keep coming back.
That's like the number one thing in golf. You hit one good shot, you go, I'm back, baby.
I just did a video. I'm going to post soon. Lab putter. I just got one of those.
Yeah.
And in the video, I said something that made a lot of sense, which was like, if you can work on one thing, and this is for you too, like putting, learn how to putt. Because if you hit a 300-yard drive, perfect. You hit it 20 yards in from there, great. But if you 3-putt or 4-putt from there, it's like, what was the point of hitting a 300-yard drive?
Yeah.
Short game. Golf should be learned inside out.
Short game is exactly.
Well, think, if you can make a 3-foot putt, right, then like lag putting, which is the longer putts, becomes easier because you only have to hit it into this big 6-foot circle, right? And then if you can lag putt really well, then chipping is easy because you just need to hit it on the green and then 1 or 2 putt. And then if you can chip, then the iron shots become easier because you don't have to hit a perfect shot. You just hit it around the green somewhere, and then maybe. And same thing. Then if your iron shots are good, you hit your driver anywhere on the golf course. You're like, it's all the same. I just hit it around there.
And if you can't hit your driver, just hit a 3-wood or iron shot. I mean, I was talking to Sam from Minimal Golf. He's like, there's 17 different ways to play a par 5. And a lot of people just pick out the driver because it's the furthest club. He's like, I could hit 3 to 7 irons and get there at the same time. So it's like,
I don't know, man.
It's all different.
I'm a big proponent of just hit it as close as possible to the
all right,
hole.
Bryson.
I don't hit it very far anymore, but that's it. Anyway, all right. Cool. I think we got to cut it. Al, you got places to be.
Yeah, I
got work to do.
I got to head out of here.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming in. Yeah.